Decided what to eat yet, hon?
Yep, almost.
If only this was easy like when we switched to Flow.
Best decision ever. Combining our mobile with Flow Internet
Saving hundreds each month on our mobile.
and getting double data to share for up to 4 lines. My ideas are the best.
Any idea when you'll make this decision?
Yeah, soon. Switch to Flow Postpaid and sign up for internet for big mobile savings and double data as low as $80 per line. Visit discoverflow.co for details. Conditions apply.
Buying your medication is easy with City Drugstore's curbside pickup. WhatsApp our certified pharmacist at 662-8769 with your requests. For prescriptions, take a clear photograph and send for review. We will engage you in dialogue and then provide a quotation and link for payment. You can then pay via TDC's online payment portal. And once the transaction is complete, you'll be notified that your pickup is ready. Yes, it's that easy. Send your WhatsApp message to 662-8769 to order your medications today with City Drugstore's curbside pickup service.
Good morning, St. Kitts and Nevis, and welcome to Voices right here on WINNFM 98.9. Today is Friday, February 11, 2022, and I am your host for today's edition of Voices, Devon Cornelius. I thank you guys so much for joining us on today's edition. It is indeed a beautiful Friday here in Sugar City, St. Kitts, and I would say too a beautiful day on Queen City, Nevis. Remember, we are live on Facebook at WINNMedia SKN. You can also check out our YouTube channel, also at WINNMedia SKN. Of course, our WhatsApp number to participate in today's program is 662-2204. That is 662-2204. Now, we have joining us on today's edition of Voices someone who I consider a cultural icon and someone who has been making a significant impact and contribution to the development of culture in Nevis specifically and across the board, St. Kitts and Nevis, and I dare say the Caribbean region. He is no other than Abonati Liebert, and he is the executive director of the Culturama Secretariat. And as many of you would know, he has been involved in culture for a very long time, and he has been making his contribution, and he has left an impact on a number of people who have worked in culture, in and around culture, and anything related to culture in Nevis and by extension St. Kitts and Nevis. Abo, good morning, and thank you so much for joining us here on Voices on WINNFM 98.9. Are you hearing me clearly?
I'm hearing you clearly, Devon. Good morning. And I'm happy to be joining you on Voices this morning. It is indeed a pleasure, as always, to be on such a prestigious program. Voices, widely listened to throughout St. Kitts and Nevis and persons in the diaspora. And so once again, I'm delighted, Devon, to join you. And before we get into the discourse for today, you did mention about my exploits in culture. And since you mentioned that, I would like to take this moment to pay respect to a fallen cultural icon that we would have lost earlier this week. It may have been on Tuesday. Chesley Pharaoh Davis. He worked with the Culturama Secretariat. We worked with the Culturama Committee. He also worked with the Department of Culture and the Nevis Cultural Development Foundation, an organization that he was privileged to act as an interim CEO at the Nevis Cultural Development Foundation. He was the research and documentation specialist at the NCDF and the Department of Culture when the Department of Culture existed. Tragically, his life was taken earlier this week. We lost him. And so I would like to pay homage to him and to thank him for all of the work that he has done in culture in Nevis and St. Kitts and Nevis throughout his almost 30-year tenure with the Department of Culture and the Nevis Cultural Development Foundation. At the time of his passing, he was employed at the Community Development Office, but continued to work within the community, the communities in Nevis to promote all things culture and all things related to the cultural development and the cultural landscape of Nevis. And so I want to extend condolences to his family, to his friends, to the persons he worked with last at the Department of that Community Development, and to his community, his hometown, Cotton Ground.
Thank you so much for that, Abu. I too would like to join to extend heartfelt sympathies and condolences to his family and friends, and especially the villagers and the residents of Cotton Ground, where he was a resident. And as you mentioned, Pharaoh, he did make a long-lasting contribution, a significant contribution to the development of culture in Nevis and across St. Kitts and Nevis. And we thank him so much for his work. And again, condolences to his family. Now, Abu, you are here today to speak on, or we want to have a discussion featuring, things, all things culture or pertaining to culture in the Federation. And of course, we are in the month of February, Black History. And so we thought that this conversation was fitting. And we have been doing so. We had a historian, Mr. Parry, last week, but we want to continue with you this week. Now, what we want to do is to speak on, old proverbs, old sayings, and music in the Federation. And, this is in an attempt to educate the listening audience, because believe it or not, there may be some people that are not too familiar with the old proverbs, the old sayings, and music here in St. Kitts and Nevis. I must admit, I don't know too much, so this would be a learning experience for me as well. And we want to look at some of the most popular sayings and proverbs and their origins, and where they fall within the community and within society. How are they used? The influences on these proverbs, and later on we can look at our music, what influences our music, folk songs, the significance of the folk song in our federation, bridging the gap between the past and present, and that is what we want to have a conversation on. So quickly, right into the discussion. Now, going up, many of us would recall, hearing a lot of old proverbs, old sayings in a real life situation. So something may have happened, and instead of your grandmother, your grandfather, or your mother or father, for that matter, putting it directly to you, it is done in an old saying way. We want to have a conversation on that. Abu, can you tell us some of the most popular sayings and proverbs? And
well,
you go ahead. Sorry.
Like you, I must admit from the onset that I do not know a lot of these proverbs, but I would try my best this morning to see how many of them I can rehash.
Because I have some here as well.
I must admit that when I got confirmation yesterday, I was extremely busy and did not really get a chance to prepare for this program today, but I would try my best to see how much, and probably what we can do is to have some interaction from our online listeners, viewers, callers, and then that can help to stimulate our discussion and to help me to remember some of these old sayings. But yes, as you rightly said, our grandparents, our great grandparents, they had a very unique way of saying things, and there were some old sayings, some proverbs that they would use to say things. And so, you know, we grew up with those through our years growing up, and they have still remained with us. And I would think that most of these sayings were a carryover from slavery days. We know that on the plantations, the slaves had a unique way of communicating among themselves, so that the slave masters, the planters, they would not know what the slaves would be saying among themselves. And I'm sure that a lot of these proverbs are carryovers from slavery days. And so I don't know if you know any, but there's
Yeah.
one
Well,
that I would throw out now. My grandparents used to say, or my grandmother, I remember spending a lot of time around my grandmother. You 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 never know, you never see foul bottom until wind blow. And you laugh.
that's a popular one. My mother always said
Yeah.
that one. My mother and my
You
grandmother.
never see foul bottom until wind blow. That is a popular saying that my grandmother used to use. And basically what my grandmother was saying is that you never know of certain things until when certain things begin to happen, like you know, there's an upsurge in things in the community, and then you would hear a lot of spin-offs. A lot of people would say things, or when one thing happens, there's a chain reaction, and you have a number of other things spinning off from that. And so that I think was the essence behind that saying. If someone listening or viewing would know of another interpretation, probably they can call and give their interpretation of that proverb. I do not know if you know.
I like that one. I hear it very often, even to this day. I still hear it, and people would use it to match real life situations. My interpretation of it is, I would say, quite similar to what you just stated, but I think, you know, it really says or interprets that you may be you may be witnessing something happening, and you perhaps think you know the true situation, or the true what's really happening with that situation, until everything starts to come to light and everything starts to manifest. But it took something to happen for that to manifest. I'm not sure if you're following what I'm saying, but you never see full bottom until wind blow, and so something had to
speaks of
happen.
the manifestation of things.
Right, that's it right there. That's it right there. Now, there's this one I think you're very familiar with, and the callers are familiar with. But let me say now that the phone lines are open. You can call us at 466-0989 and the 762-0989. We also have our WhatsApp number, which is 662-2204, where you can send your old proverbs and sayings. It says, moonlight run till daylight catch 'em. But we have our first call, so we're going to take this call right now. Caller, good morning. You're on Voices.
Good morning, Mr. Cornelius.
Good morning.
And how are you today?
I'm good, thanks. What about you?
I'm giving thanks to life and also say good morning to your guest.
Yes, good
How
morning.
would I miss something like this? All proverbs. I think I agree with Mr. Nabo.
Abo.
Abanasi Library.
Mm-hmm.
It's a carryover. It's a carryover that we ourselves in our own little space and our own little experience, and it's an add-on to. It's an add-on to some of the proverbs that we once knew back home on the continent, like the bird that is in flight with its neck, this long neck. It's looking back, but it's in flight. It's still going forward, but it's looking in flight. Like, you know, drink water from your own cistern. You know, look back to retrieve, to go forward, so that a tree without a root, without a root, you know what I mean, is not strong.
Right.
You know, you don't build on the sand, you know, build on good foundation, because when the wind and the, you know, all these things.
Mm-hmm.
But two of the ones that really stayed with me a lot, remained with me a lot, is like an elder in my community. I love her. I like to sit with her. She will say, a kitten can teach a cat new tricks. And also one go like this, well, they said the piglets asked the hog, why is your snout so long? You know? And then the hog said to the piglets, wait until you come of age. You know, something to that aspect.
Right.
So these are the things for us to ponder on and give meaning to them. Give, you know what I mean, meaning to them. Give essence to them in terms of explaining, in terms of our day-to-day life. How does these proverbs affect us in our day-to-day life? Are we living, you know what I mean, something that we should have been rectified from the past of our ancestors, our forebearers? In this day and age, are we reliving it? Like, you know, you'll never know. You'll never know. If you don't know your history, you're bound to relive it, all of these things. So it's very interesting that we having a conversation
Right.
on this month of these things.
Right. Caller, thank you so much
I
for...
continue to live off.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for your contribution to this program. We're still taking your calls here on Voices at 466, 0989 and 7620989. But I think it is the division in me why I said 469. But what is your response to that caller?
Yes, he mentioned the first proverb he mentioned was what it has eluded me. But
Yeah.
yes, he's on the right track. These proverbs, as I indicated earlier, carry over from slavery, and he did mention some old-time sayings. A kitten can't teach a cat new tricks, and that is so
Right.
true. That is so true. You know, your grandparents, when you try to fool your grandparents in doing certain things, they would tell you something like that to let you know that they are in the world before you. And so they are up to your tricks. And they are ahead of you in terms of what you are trying to pull over their faces. And so, yes, I would agree with the caller in some of the things, or in all of the things that he would have said.
Yeah.
A bird in the hand is worth two in the bushes. That's another proverb that we would hear, or we have heard from our grandparents. Simply saying that value what you have now.
Yeah.
Value what you have in your hand. You may have something in your hand, and you may see something that you want to go after. And in going after that something, you may lose the one that you actually have in your hand. And when you go after that other thing, you may lose it, and then you end up with nothing. So it's better to treasure what you have right now in your hands. Treasure, value that, hold on to that, rather than trying to go and seek something else to add to what you have, because you may end up losing what you actually have in your hand right now. And so a bird in the hand is what two in the bushes. That is another old time saying. We have that has remained with us from our forefathers.
Yeah. About, let's take a pin right there. We have another caller, so let's take this call right now. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Greetings, thanks for taking our call, and thanks for the information flowing, you know. What come to mind is something where, yeah, it's fitting in them time there, and even in our time, every day, bucket of go away. I talk one day, the bottom will drop out. That is a very serious proverb, you know. Give thanks for the sharing again. Bless.
Right. Thank you so much, caller, for your contribution. You know, the other caller, when he said a kitten can't teach a cat new tricks, you know, I always remember my grandmother of blessed memory, who many refer to as Miss Knight. I think you knew her very well. And I remember doing something one Sunday afternoon, because we would go down there to go to the beach by Gallows Bay. And she kindly let me know I was once your age. So I know what you're up to, you know. But I like these proverbs, Abo, and I like where the conversation is going. I have another one here, which says long grass got ear. I heard this one yesterday. I was having a conversation right after the Prime Minister's press conference, and we were outside chatting, and the person said, "Hush, hush, hush. Long grass got ear." I nearly fall long.
Because you know, you may be thinking, Devon, that what you're saying to that individual like yesterday, what you're saying to him or her, that it is only heard by him or her, but there may be somebody in the vicinity who is overhearing and would go and say, "Boy, I overhear Devon saying X, Y, Z," and so you would often hear your grandparents saying, "What were you saying? Because long grass have ear," meaning that other persons may overhear what you are saying and then go and carry out the story. Now, there's another one. What is done in the dark must come out in the light. There are some people that think they are the smartest ones around. They are full of tricks, and they could do things and they do things. They get away with it this time. They continue. They do another trick. They get away. They continue. They do hundreds of tricks, but one day, their tricks would catch up with them. Their tricks would come to the light, and so one day they will get caught. And so this is another saying again that our grandparents used to say: when you sneak out of the house in the night, or you do something naughty, they will tell you, and they are aware of what you're doing, or they suspect rather what you're doing. They will tell you, what is done in the dark must come out in the light one day.
Mm-hmm. And
I'm sure, Devon, that you have heard that.
I have heard
many
that
times,
and
many times.
yeah. And you know, I want to follow that by bringing this one. It says, "Show me your company, and I'll tell you who you are."
Exactly.
Yeah.
A man is known best by the company that he keeps.
Right.
Right.
So
So if you are in the company of persons who like to consume alcohol, let's say, let's use that one.
Mm-hmm.
There may be somewhere down the line, if you are not a consumer of alcohol, you may just be drawn into it, and eventually you become an alcoholic yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll be identified by your community or within your community as an alcoholic because you are always in the company of these people. No, it doesn't always happen that way, because there are some people who are in the company of some persons, but they do not join in what they are doing. But society will still judge you. Even though you may not be doing it, society will still judge you based on the persons that you are associated with and the things that those persons usually practice.
It is 11:30. We'll pause for an ad break very shortly, and a very short break. And when we come back, we'll continue this discussion, and we're gonna head into some of the folk songs, which I think you may have or you may know about. We're gonna talk about some folk songs, and you know what role they play in society. I know a lot of folk songs, and at the same time, I still don't know. It's like I remember singing a lot of them when I was in Nipak choir, but they're not coming back to me. I'm trying to jog my memory, but you know, perhaps if somebody dropped the tune right now, I could bust the tune, but they're not coming to me right now. But let's take this break, Abo, and we will be right back. Stick and stay.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Decided what to eat yet, hon?
Yep, almost.
If only this was easy like when we switched to flow.
best decision ever. Combining our mobile with Flow Internet
Saving hundreds each month on our mobile.
and getting double data to share for up to 4 lines. My ideas are the best.
Any idea when you'll make this decision?
Yeah, soon. Switch to Flow Postpaid and sign up for internet for big mobile savings and double data as low as $80 per line. Visit discoverflow.co for details. Conditions apply.
Hello.
Gurjeen,
What's up, girl? Talk to me.
you know I'm working hard on being even more active, right? So we're going to the TDC Home and Building Depot to get a blender, weights, a yoga mat, and a bike for Clive too.
You serious? Something keep in there?
Yes, girl, all month long. Shop in store, get 20% in savings on health and wellness products like blenders, juicers, air fryers, waist trainers, and more.
Girl, Betty, you're joking.
I don't have time for jokes. Get yourself sorted because in February we're staying active with TDC HBD.
Yes, girl.
Girl. Terms and conditions apply. See store for details.
Welcome back to Voices right here on WINNFM 98.9. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. And on the program is Abonati Liebert, a cultural icon on Nevis and the executive director of the Culturama Secretariat. And we're having a conversation on old proverbs, old sayings, folk songs, you name it. Very good conversation that we're having here right now. And we're taking your calls at 466-0989 and 762-0989. Remember, you can send us a WhatsApp at 662-2204. That is 662-2204. Welcome back to Voices. Abo, you hearing me?
Yes, I'm here in Devon.
Yeah. I was trying to jog my memory. I even called somebody from Nevis. There was this song. I won't even try to attempt it, but the person said they're going to come back just to remind me about it. But we want to go into some folk songs. This one, Tingaleo. don't mind the harp singing.
Tingaleo?
Yeah. How that one go? Yeah, you could hear me?
Yeah, I'm here. What happened? I'm actually using my cell phone for this thing, and my phone just rang. But I'm back with you now.
Oh, okay, yeah. So there's this one about Tingaleo, come little donkey, come. Is that somebody?
Familiar with that one?
Huh?
Where did you get that one? I'm not familiar with that one. Where you have heard that one? Where did you hear that one?
This one, I heard it throughout primary school a lot, for a lot of programs that we had, and I think from time to time, my teachers would use it in some kind of lesson, or if we had a recess or something. But I can't sing it word for word, but I am familiar with it, and I've heard it before. But tell me about some of the folk songs that you know of, and even some that we use, today still.
Well, I would want to begin from right here in Nevis, and there's one folk song that I would want to throw out here, written by one Mr. Hansel Manners, and it's a patriotic folk song. I don't know if you know of it, if you have ever heard it. I know that you're just about 14, 15 years. Nevis, lovely Nevis. Have you ever heard that? Written and performed by Mr. Hansel Manners. That speaks to the friendly nature and all things,
Yeah, man.
lovely.
It's a beautiful
that you
song.
can experience on Nevis. It's a real nice patriotic folk song that I know that when I used to be in primary school that we sang that song a lot, especially around at that time statehood. Statehood, we would sing that song at patriotic programs of the school. We would sing that song, and that is written by a Gingerlander. I'm from Gingerland, Mr. Hansel Manners, and there are several other folk songs. I myself am trying to juggle my mind to remember some of those folk songs, but I'm sure again our callers, they may be able to assist us in remembering some of these songs. So if our callers can call and rehash our memories in terms of some of the folk songs that we used to sing in school or we used to sing long ago. That will help us quite a lot with our discussion.
That would be great. We just had a call, but we lost that one. But we're still taking your calls at 466-0989 and 7620989. We want to hear from you some of the folk songs that you are familiar with, and those that you heard growing up, going through primary school. And as you mentioned, Abu, a lot of our school programs, we sang these songs for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And, it just stuck with us. As I mentioned, I was a part of the NEPAC choir. And when we had our annual cornucopia, we sang a lot of these songs. Abu, stick a pin. We have a caller. Let's take this call. Caller, good morning. You are on Voices.
Good morning to everyone. I was just continuing with the one with the Langua barricade carry the news. That is how we finished. Long grass have ear and barricade carry the news.
Okay. Thank you so much.
And then it's the next little one. I remember only when wind blow, you see the fall bottom. Only when the wind blow, you see the fall bottom. And I take it like when everything is calm and so, you don't see no problem. But as you get into the problem, then you get the real serious of it, the real seriousness of it. So when it's calm, you don't see nothing. But when problem arises, then you get out the results. Yes.
Yeah, that's another interesting twist to that proverb as well, Devon.
Absolutely. That's the first time I heard the extension to that one as well. But we have another caller, so let's see if we can get this caller in. Caller, morning. Please turn on the radio.
Okay, hold
Some
on.
feedback.
Morning. I'm here listening to you. One of the songs we used to sing in school is, if you follow the outing girls, you get fever. If you follow the outing girls, you get fever. If you follow the outing girls, you get fever in your liver, and your fever will never recover. And then he had this one, moon one till they catch it. And then he had this one, you could run but you can't hide. And he had this one, when you talk too much, you tell mama morning. And when you're doing anything, yes, with your mouth shut, don't let nobody know what you're doing until you finish. And he had this one, who got across on the rain. Something in a conversation, and you see somebody, boyfriend, come here and say, who got across on the rain? So they don't know what you mean. Bye.
Thank you so much, Carla, for that. Abu, what's your response to this?
I like that one. Who got cocoa in the sun? Look for rain. And that is so true. That is so true, Devon. You know what that one means, Devon?
I honestly, I don't know.
You never heard it before.
No.
But if you are to dissect it literally, you know what cocoa is?
Yes, I am. I know what cocoa is.
So, when you put cocoa out to dry, you cannot let the rain come and wet them, or the cocoa seeds will spoil.
Okay.
So you see where that is going in terms of that in terms of that interpretation.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I follow that one. About the phone lines are busy. Let's head back to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm enjoying it. The only thing I thought you would have said it in the Nevis dialect. Because it sounds so. It's going to what's something about kin up. The kin up. You know, this one we used to sing about man of war in the harbor. And the teacher would break up the game. You know that one? Man of war in the harbor, man of war in the bay. Something about the set. Something so, and then you walk up, go down, and walk up, come up. Because in those days, man of war used to come. So all on Richtown and Newtown and really plenty sailor, right?
Uh-huh.
So, and this thing they used to say, when children get in, would they say, you must smell your piss.
As just said that though, there's this one. I don't know if it's an old proverb, but it says, "Me and you know sex and size."
Oh yeah. Or they would say, find your own size.
Yeah.
You know, but they were wise men. Because you interpret the one about who got cocoa in the sun. Look for rain. I mean, in every situation, there could be a disappointment. And the one about with the girls them now, what is to say? You smell under your arm. You know, when you're going into puberty, and some of them want to answer back the mother. You must smell your piss, or you smell under your arm. Lord Jesus. And the one about one take they catch it. If your mother asks if you're doing something and you say no, maybe your friend with Devon, you know, you say you're going down by Devon and place. Not me, mama, me don't go down there. She say, all right, darling. Moon one till they catch it. I mean, one day you're gonna come home pregnant. You see? All right then.
Thank you so much, Connor. Thank you so much.
I'm seeing another one here. No grudge nobody for what they have.
Yes.
But you don't know how they come by it.
Yes.
That's a popular one. And that is so true. Do not look at what other people have. How you really don't know how hard, how much they would have toiled to achieve what they have achieved in life.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's a popular one, and it's what we use in almost everything that we say, because sometimes you see somebody with something and you're ready to grudge them. So where you get that from? But you ain't know that person had to work hard and twice as hard to get what they have. But I like these old sayings, Abo. But we're heading back to the phone lines. We have some callers. Let's take this call. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, and to add to that, not only don't grudge for what persons don't have, because if you grudge that person, and whatever means, crafty means, you concoct it to get what the person has. If that person inherited it through other means, you carry that inheritance rest on your shoulders for life. Because you don't know what makes the person achieve it by. There's another saying that we will say, in terms of respect, that children don't just barge into big people's conversation and big people's company or sit amongst the elders, even without asking permission to have a seat with the elders, Carry on to a saying they used to say that little children don't bury amongst big people. These are the sayings that I grew up with. And Abu can expound on those for me.
Thank you so much, caller, for that contribution. Abu, we are is 11:46.
There are two more that I want to throw on the table here. Or
Sure.
three more. Small axe cut down big tree. And then look for black sheep before it dark. What hot eyes make nose run? Those are some popular ones that we grew up on over the years.
I like that one about look for black sheep before it dark.
Well, Devon, how you going to find your black sheep once night coming?
That's what I say. But these are some real good sayings, and as I said, many of our parents, grandparents, they use them, help to raise us and really teach us about life. But we have some calls. We're soon out of time, but let's see how many calls we can facilitate. Let's take this call. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, this is what my father used to tell me that used to annoy me. He said, don't trust man in long pants. You ever heard that one?
No,
never heard that one, Miss Henry.
Yeah, my father, when I was friend with my husband, he said, Sylvian, you ever see Joseph in short pants? So no, he said, don't trust man in long pants. Man just got so foot on the long pants.
What was the interpretation of that, Miss Henry?
So he said, carry him down the bay. You're going to be, let him take off his long pants so you see what's under there. So for all the young girls out there, don't trust man in long pants. You don't know what's under the pants, right? All right then.
Hey. Abo.
Yes, and there's another one I have here. I bring you in this world so I could take you out.
Mm-hmm.
You know that when you are very disgusting, very disgusting.
Yeah.
And your parents cannot control you. They would tell you, I bring you into this world so I could take you out too.
Yeah.
That's another popular one.
Yeah.
Fowl was sleep on roost, no hard to catch. That's another popular one that we grew up on also.
Yes.
And then your parents used to tell you, like back in the day, well, you grew up in the era when you had your wash machine. But when I used to go to school, I used to have to come home on a Friday afternoon and sit behind a tub and wash my school uniform for the next week. Only when you could wash white, you could wash. So if you can't wash white, Devon, you really can't wash.
Well, I have a. Oh my gosh, I don't think I can wash because I can't wash white. But I think I've heard that one before. And I think, washing on your hand, I still don't know the technique of washing on your hand. As you said, boy, I grew up in the washing machine era. So you come home, you throw the clothes in the washing machine, and then that's it. You go and watch your business. But my parents, they grew up in the era where they come home, they wash their clothes on their hand, and I used to enjoy watching my mother wash clothes on her hand. That was, man, when you hear that scoop, you're like, wow, no machine could beat this.
There's another one. The race is not for the swift, but for those who endure to the end. And that is so true. There are some people in life that they want to achieve every single thing. No, they want it now. I want it now. But then what happens? In less than no time, they lose all that they would have accumulated by unscrupulous means or whatever. But those who take their time and build up an empire by being honest and working hard, those are the ones that eventually would succeed and endure the times.
Mm-hmm. But we'll take some more calls, and then I want to hear from you quickly. Some popular Negro spirituals that you may know. So let's take these calls that we have, and then you can jog your memory to see what you know about the popular Negro spirituals. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. It is one that says, "All that sleep rules don't have to catch." You ever heard of that one?
Yes, I think we just mentioned that one. Yes.
Oh, you mentioned it already?
Yes, that's a good one.
Yeah, so you know what that means.
Well, you can give us your interpretation.
Well, when you're growing up and you do something wrong and your mother tell you don't do it and you still do it, you got licks hanging over your head.
Yes.
You try to run from licks now, so you're out all day. But you got to come home at night to sleep.
Exactly. I got you.
Yes. Okay. All right, cool. Yeah.
Abo, I have this one before we continue. This one, it says a leopard doesn't change its spots.
A leopard does not change its spots.
A leopard doesn't change its spots. What
that
is?
Means if you are naughty, if you are set in your ways, if you have a particular character, you would be known as that person. You would take that character through life with you, because you would not be able to change. Well, there are some people who actually change, but some people actually do not change. So if you are trying to convince somebody, boy, I've changed, and you really have not changed, they would tell you, boy, a leopard don't change his spots. Meaning that you have not changed. You are still the same person. You are still a thief. You are still a liar. You are still a murderer. A leopard never changes its spots.
Thank you so much for that, Abo. It is 11:53 and we are winding down. We have a caller on the line, so we'll take this call. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Hi, good morning. I remember when I was coming up, all of us used to live in the same house. And at the time we used to have pail. So I got a pippy in the pail, and I pippy hard. So my grandmother said, you have piss hard, you ear bone. So hear mama, me ear bone twice. Hear me auntie, girl, and that she mean you having sex. I said, no, mama, no. They just used to talk some kind of riddles for you, ain't know what they're talking about. She said, your ear bore, so I know since I was a baby, my ear bore. So I said, yeah, mama, my ear bore twice. And my big auntie said, no, girl, ain't that she mean. I said, Lord, mama, no, me not have sex.
Devon, another one here that I want to throw in.
Go ahead.
Who not hear by the ear, going hear by the behind.
Yes.
So if you don't listen, you're going to get blows. Since you don't want to listen.
Hey, boy, that's a good one. That's a really, really good one. Well, we're out of time and the phone lines are ringing off the hook, but we'll see how much we can get in.
Devon, now that we have gotten it started, we got the whole thing started at the program. We actually need another program.
We do. We really do. We really, really do. We're going to do a follow-up. Because I like this. I really, really like this. I'm learning. You're learning. The callers, they're learning. Some of these sayings, I've never heard them before. And as I said, some I'm familiar with from my grandparents, my interaction with my grandparents. They would use these very often, to in a way of discipline and in a way of raising you and making sure that you come out to be the best person that you can be. But I really like these sayings and what they mean and where they come from, and they really say it from a sense of they care about you and they want you to do well.
Devon, I want to throw this one as well. I'm sending you down by the shop. Don't let me spit dry up before you reach back. You know what that mean?
I don't know. No.
Hurry up, come back. Your grandparents going to send you out. They're going to sit on the ground and tell you, do not let the spit dry up and reach back yet. Otherwise, you know what can happen? It's licks for you. So go straight and come back straight.
That was a popular one, boy, because as children, and I think we're all guilty of that. Your mother send you out to buy some milk. Go straight to Best Buy. I go straight to the supermarket and come back. Let me not say Best Buy, because Best Buy, I didn't think Best Buy was back in them time. But let's say your mother send you by the village shop, and instead of you going straight, you going by your friend to fly kite, you going by your friend to pitch marble, and your mother home looking for you, worrying. So that's a really good one. But we have just a few minutes left, so we're going to begin wrapping up. I'm not sure if you're available to stay for the second hour, but we're going to do a follow-up sometime in the very, very near future. But this is really good information and very good old sayings, old proverbs, and just from looking at the phone lines, callers are eager to get in because they too want to share, some of what they heard growing up from their parents and grandparents. And as I said, these sayings, they were taught to us, or they said them to us because they really wanted the best for us. And, it was a way of disciplining and making sure that you come out to be the best that you can be. Any closing comments from you, Abo?
Yeah, well, Devon, I want to thank you. I want to thank the Win FM family for having me this morning. If not short confirmation, I think that the program ended up well. I rather enjoy the engagement by the callers. They enlightened us on a lot of these things that we grew up on. And as I said in the beginning, it's a part of our heritage, our cultural heritage, that we must hold fast to, because these sayings, these traditions, the things we do, the things we say, the songs, the music, they must be documented. They must be carried on for generations that are yet born. And so we can only do that if we help to perpetuate these things by documenting them, by speaking about them, through radio programs like these, through books. And I think that there are some persons who may be thinking of documenting some of these old sayings in books, because they must live on. Long after you and I would have left planet Earth, Devon, these things must be carried on by our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren.
Absolutely, Abu. I wholeheartedly agree with you, and I would say too that this was a very good program. And as I said, based on the interaction from the callers, I can tell that they want more, and we promise to give them some more because these conversations are really important, and it's a more of like a segue from the usual, the politics and all these other programs that we would have on a regular basis. But this is really good information. It was an opportunity for you and I to learn some new proverbs and the where they came from, and the sharing from the caller that we received today, was the callers, that we received today. That was really, really good. Hearing from them, their experiences with some of these old proverbs and old sayings. I'm young, so I don't know too much. But some of what was said, I am familiar with them. I could tell you that much. I'm familiar with some of them, but I like this conversation. This is reminding me of sitting down with my grandmother and having a conversation with her about some history and some old time sayings and proverbs and all of these things. So Abo, again, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us here on Voices on Win FM 98.9. Until next time, stay safe and you take care.
Thank you.
Yeah, have a good one. You were just listening to Voices on Win FM 98.9. This was the first hour, and we were speaking with Abunati Liebert out of Nevis, someone who I consider to be a cultural icon, and he is also the executive director of the Culturama Secretariat, and he has been making his contribution and impact to cultural development, social development, community development on the island of Nevis, and by extension, the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. I must say that I thoroughly enjoyed this program today, and we're going to continue for the second half. And of course, fueled by you, the callers, and, remind us of some of the proverbs and old sayings and songs and Negro spirituals and even hymns, that you know of, that, growing up, this is what you heard from your parents and grandparents, and this is what they used to help to mold you. And tell us about some of the games that you used to play. I mean, we know some of the games that we're seeing now are just, outrageous. But I want to hear about some of the games that you guys used to play growing up, and some of the games that you think, the children today should learn, and some of the childhood experiences. But we're going to continue for the second hour right after the headline news. So we'll take this break, and when we come back, we'll continue Voices right here on Win FM 98.9. I've been your host for the first hour, Devon Cornelius. Thank you so much for joining me. Stick and stay. We will be right back.
You found the sound. 98.9. Win FM.
We now bring you the headline news. The headline news is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, The Grange, KDP Enterprises, Carib Brewery, and National Bank.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Did you know that National Bank offers very favorable terms and low interest rate to switch your home mortgage? Our in-house legal department will process your mortgage in a jiffy and free of cost. Switch your home mortgage now and get a peace of mind knowing that we are here for you. National Bank, always here.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
Protect your lifestyle with Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Till you walk with a local reputation and service for second to none. Securing you is our mission. People that you can trust, your business, property, we got you covered. Motor or personal, whatever it is, we got you covered. 130 years in this business, we've got you covered. For all your insurance needs, visit or call us at 465-2631 or 469-5303. Delia Walwyn, people you can trust.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
With the Win Headline News, I am Devon Cornelius.
And I am Yolanda Weeks.
Making the headlines. Hush puppy matter still under investigation.
Boundaries Commission to decide on constituency boundaries.
Police waiting on Magistrates Court to hear coroner's inquest for 2 high-profile deaths.
In July 2021, a 19-year-old young woman in Jamaica had her locks forcibly cut by a policewoman during an arrest. On Wednesday, Jamaica's Director of Public Prosecution ruled that the policewoman would not face criminal prosecution. Internationally, the U.S. is urging Canada to use federal powers to end the 4-day blockade along their shared border. Thousands of truck drivers have been protesting against COVID restrictions by disrupting the flow of cargo.
The details and more straight ahead. The Director of Public Prosecutions and the Solicitor General are to communicate with the United States of America regarding the investigation into the passport scandal involving alleged fraudster Nigerian Raman Hushpuppi Abbas.
We sent some information to the DPP and also Solicitor General in terms of doing, in terms of MLAT, so we can get the evidence from states. You just can't go and make a request. So our legal person, the competent authority, will have to speak to the competent authority in the United States, ask them for the evidence, right, and forward the evidence. Otherwise, that will not be admissible in our court. So we have to wait until we get that. Whatever we can do here, we already do what we can do until we get the other part of the evidence.
Said Commissioner Brandy, the government of St. Kitts and Nevis had launched an investigation into the Nigerian fraudster and deactivated his passport. Quote, the matter of the revocation of Abbas's citizenship has been put before our Attorney General for advice and guidance, said Prime Minister Harris, who also serves as National Security Minister. Abbas was accused of bribing a St. Kitts and Nevis government official to assist him in obtaining a false marriage certificate to make him eligible for a passport.
Constituency boundaries have long been a matter of national interest, and Attorney General, the Honorable Vincent Byron Jr., declared that an independent Constitutional Boundaries Commission has been established. Byron recalled the sitting of the National Assembly Budget 2022 debate in December, where he announced that the framework was already in place for a National Boundaries Commission and was submitted to and approved by Governor General Sir S.W. Tapley-Seaton. According to Byron, acting upon advice from the Prime Minister, Dr. Timothy Harris, and with consultation from the Leader of the Opposition, the Honorable Dr. Denzel Douglas, the Governor General has appointed James Buchanan, a licensed land surveyor, to be the chairman of the St. Kitts and Nevis Boundaries Commission. He also disclosed that the Deputy Prime Minister, the Honorable Sean Richards, and the representative of Constituency 3, the Honorable Akila Byron Nisbet, were nominated by Prime Minister Harris to serve on the Boundaries Commission. Leader of the Opposition, Dr. Denzel Douglas, nominated himself, as well as the representative for Constituency 1, the Honorable Dr. Jeffrey Hanley, to be a part of the commission. During the Prime Minister's press conference on Thursday, January 10, Byron gave an overview of the mandates that are expected to be carried out by the Boundaries Commission.
That this commission has two mandates. One, to see if there is a need to do any changes to the current boundaries. First, in the terms of the numbers of individuals per constituency, or for that matter, to see if there's a need to increase the number of constituencies in St. Kitts and in Nevis. And this mandate is governed by a schedule of regulations to be found in the Constitution that says that the constituencies in St. Kitts should be near equal in the number of inhabitants, not voters, but inhabitants, so that if you live in a particular constituency, the numbers on that representatives have responsibility for should be equal in number of inhabitants to those in another constituency in St. Kitts.
The Attorney General further explained that it will be a similar approach for Nevis, but it does not mean equal across the board. There is a distinction that the population of St. Kitts is larger than that in Nevis, and that distinction, he said, is important and will have to be closely examined. According to Byron, the second mandate will increase the number of seats in St. Kitts and Nevis, whereas the numbers in Nevis must reflect 1/3 of the number of constituencies of the overall number of the Federation.
Currently, you would be aware that in St. Kitts we have 8 constituencies and in Nevis 3 constituencies. If there was to be an increase in the number of constituencies in St. Kitts, Nevis must have 1/3 of the total number. So if you wanted to put it up to 9, that's a quarter. If it went to 10 in St. Kitts, it now requires Nevis to have 2 more seats. So that is something that have to be aware of.
The Attorney General said the Boundaries Commission will meet shortly and is expected to produce a report which will then be submitted to the Governor General. Based on the report, Prime Minister Harris should make a resolution to be submitted to the Parliament. If and when the resolutions are voted upon in a positive manner, this will create new electoral boundaries in St. Kitts and Nevis.
The coroner's inquests into the deaths of Customs Officer Andrew Douglas and Stone Fort resident Sandra Adams are still pending before the Magistrates Court. This is according to Hilroy Brandy, Commissioner of the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force.
We are ready. There was some delay in getting back some forensic testing. They arrived, and any moment now we should be able to proceed. When the court set it, the magistrate will have to set a date and time for the inquest.
Said Commissioner Brandy in an interview with WINNMedia on Thursday, February 10th. A similar update was provided by Commissioner Brandy 1 month ago on January 7th, 2022. He said, quote, "That's still before the Magistrates Court. You know we are in COVID, so those matters are very slow because of the restrictions with the amount of people in court. I don't know when the matter will be called up," he said, adding that whenever the court calls up the date, they will be able to do an inquiry. People will be coming in to testify, and the jury will decide on the outcome of the matter. 21-year-old Customs Officer Andrew Douglas was found dead with a single gunshot wound to the head on September 17, 2020 at the Customs Department in Bird Rock, St. Kitts. The circumstances of his death sparked widespread public concern and speculation, and questions remain unanswered about the incident. Stonefort resident Sandra Adams, 59 years old, was found unresponsive at her home on September 26th with a cord around her neck, according to the police. Her death was ruled a suicide, but questions remain about the circumstances of her death.
In regional news,
in July 2021, a 19-year-old young woman in Jamaica had her locks forcibly cut by a policewoman during an arrest. On Wednesday, Jamaica's Director of Public Prosecution ruled that the policewoman would not face criminal prosecution. The Virgin Islands Consortium has more.
The policewoman accused of assaulting 19-year-old Nzinga King during an arrest and forcibly cutting her locks while processing her for detention will not face criminal prosecution, according to a ruling from Jamaica's Director of Public Prosecutions. The decision was reportedly influenced by a list of recommendations handed over by the Independent Commission of Investigations, INDECOM, following the agency's own investigations into the incident. Back in July of 2021, King was placed in lockup at the Four Paths police station after being arrested for violating COVID-19 protocols. King claimed that while being processed, she was informed by the officer in question that she was deemed a suicide risk based on theories that she could use her long, locked hair to hang herself in her cell. King said what came next was a forced haircut over her objections and repeated assertions that her hair was not just a fashion statement, but instead an important part of her Rastafarian religious practices. King was subsequently bailed out by her mother, who took to the press to express her horror over her daughter's drastically altered appearance, which in turn prompted investigations by the Jamaica Constabulary Force and INDECOM. Based on the findings of these investigations, the DPP instead left open the possibility that King could pursue civil action against the officer, noting that the civil standard of balance of probabilities is less than the beyond a reasonable doubt standard of proof that would exist in a criminal trial setting. The DPP also agreed with Indicom's recommendation to proceed with a departmental inquiry into possible administrative breaches relating to failures by the police to present any of the relevant records that they were obligated to submit to investigators who were gathering material on King's time in detention. Meanwhile, the DPP says it is completely in the hands of the police force to decide whether to investigate or lay charges against King regarding an offense of creating public mischief. Moving forward, the JCF has been guided to determine if there is sufficient basis to pursue such an investigation.
We now bring you these international reports.
Along the U.S.-Canadian border, the truckers' blockade is slowly taking its toll. This paddle border is moving faster than traffic. And as rebels in 18-wheelers demanding an end to COVID-19 restrictions continue using their Freedom Convoy to block the border on the Canadian side, the pain is being felt on both sides. Ford has stopped its auto assembly line in Windsor, Toyota has closed 3 plants across Ontario, and General Motors is cutting shifts in Michigan. And those closures threaten to reverberate throughout the auto supply chain. Despite the added time in traffic, this trucker says the demonstrators have a point.
Everybody has the right to do whatever he wants, If I want to die, I want to die. I don't care.
I support him, but I think it kind of sucks, all the traffic here, 'cause
On Thursday, the truckers opened another front, blocking all lanes on Manitoba's main crossing to North Dakota. And with the Ambassador Bridge blocked from Detroit to Windsor, traffic on the busiest land crossing in North America is shut down entirely from the U.S. to Canada and all but closed in the other direction. Trucks carrying everything from cattle to car parts, which under automakers' just-in-time delivery system need to be delivered within 48 hours to keep assembly lines rolling, have been diverted to the crossing between Port Huron, Michigan, and the Canadian city of Sarnia. At the Blue Water Bridge, these trucks are getting across to Canada, but wait times have been up to 3 hours and traffic crawls. And that's likely to continue as long as the truckers' blockade goes on and politicians seem unwilling to crack down. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau insists Canada will follow the science.
Not only are Canadians tired of this pandemic, of the challenges we're facing, but they are also, of course, tired of the restrictions, tired of the rules, tired of the lockdowns. That is understandable. But you know what helps lift restrictions? You know what helps move beyond lockdowns? Vaccinations.
But some Canadian provinces, including Alberta and Saskatchewan, have eased COVID rules, and Quebec and Prince Edward Island announced plans to do the same. But with plans for a freedom convoy in the U.S., the truckers' protests show no sign of ending. John Hendren, Al Jazeera, on the U.S. border with Canada.
Protesters marched through Ghana's capital, Accra. They're angry about a government plan to introduce a tax known as an e-levy. A charge of nearly 2% will be added to all electronic transactions of more than $16. Recent polls show up to 85% of the country's population opposes the tax. Protesters say people on low incomes will suffer the most.
To create a situation where money, which is either kept in my pocket physically or kept in my electronic wallet, you start to take the electronic money, any transaction I make is simply immoral, is criminal.
The government says the money raised from the e-levy will pay for development projects. Tax revenues have fallen sharply in Ghana in recent years, from 32% of GDP in 2009 to 15% in 2020. Part of the reason is nearly 3/4 of the country's 10 million workers are employed informally, and many don't pay income tax. Some economists say the e-levy is not a bad idea, but must be implemented fairly. Others say the timing is wrong.
Prices are escalating day in and day out. Fuel prices are going up. Even last week, one day fuel prices were increased twice. Now we are paying taxes for everything. COVID came in And instead of bringing alleviation to the people, we rather were imposed to pay COVID taxes.
Some protesters say they cannot afford to live and are calling on the government to go.
All my grandchildren are homeschooling. I cannot feed them. We cannot access water or food. I don't have anything to survive on, so I'm asking the government to hand over power to someone else. We are really suffering.
Ghana has one of the fastest growing mobile money markets in Africa. Protesters want the government to think again about the impact of the e-levy on the poorest in the country. Victoria Gatenby, Al Jazeera.
He was the man who helped tackle the fear, damage and death spreading through the 1980s as the AIDS epidemic unfolded around the world, baffling scientists.
The virus can be passed during sexual intercourse with an infected person.
Luc Montagnier isolated human tissue from a neck gland in 1983 and was able to draw the link between a virus in it and AIDS. He battled to be recognized as the first scientist to reach this conclusion, eventually receiving a Nobel Prize recognition in 2008 for his work.
There is a frequent statement saying that Nobel Prize winners are less productive after they receive the Nobel Prize, so I will try not to show this.
He went on to develop a specialism in exploring cures for viral diseases, but also became a pariah within the medical community for supporting non-scientific theories. In 2020, this translated to a popularity with modern anti-vax movements as he denounced COVID vaccines and claimed COVID-19 was made in a lab. Despite this, tributes are pouring in with love for his work, including a nod from President Emmanuel Macron for his major contribution to the fight against AIDS. Stephanie Prentice, BBC News.
You are listening to the WINNFM Headline News. Let's recap our top stories. Hush puppy matter still under investigation.
Boundaries Commission to decide on constituency boundaries.
Police waiting on magistrate's court to hear coroner's inquest for 2 high-profile deaths.
In July 2021, a 19-year-old young woman in Jamaica had her locks forcibly cut by a policewoman during an arrest. On Wednesday, Jamaica's Director of Public Prosecution ruled that the policewoman would not face criminal prosecution. Internationally, the U.S. is urging Canada to use federal powers to end the 4-day blockade along their shared border. Thousands of truck drivers have been protesting against COVID restrictions by disrupting the flow of cargo.
Thank you for listening.
That was the WINNFM Headline News. The Headline News is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, The Grange, KDP Enterprises, Carib Brewery, and National Bank.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
Protect your lifestyle with Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Till you walk with a low reputation and service for second to none. Securing you is our mission. People that you can trust, your business, property, we got you covered. Motor or personal, whatever it is, we got you covered. 130 years in this business, we've got you covered. For all your insurance needs, visit or call us at 465-2631 or 469-5303. Delia Walwyn, people you can trust.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organisation on St Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
Stop standing in long ATM lines to withdraw cash. Use your national debit or black cards to complete a wide variety of transactions at supermarkets, variety stores, gas stations, pharmacies, and more. Shop online at the most popular websites and stores for quality brands using your national debit or black cards. And take back your time to enjoy all the things that you love to do. Remember, instead of waiting in long ATM lines to withdraw cash, use your national bank cards today.
National Bank, always here.
With over a century of perfection behind the Mackeson name, a smooth blend with perfect balance and richness. It's no wonder Mackeson Triple Stout has a legacy of perfection. Enjoy the world over. Introducing our new look with the same great taste. Mackeson. All hail the king.
Please drink responsibly.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Horswood's Building and Nevis Centers continues to make your lawn and gardening easy. Go to Horswood's Building and Nevis Center now and get 25% off store-wide on the entire lawn and garden equipment. Yes, for the months of February and March, Horswood's Building Center and Nevis Center is making improving your lawn and garden easy with 25% off garden supplies, garden equipment, garden accessories, including weed eaters, lawnmowers, and much more. Get 25% off all lawn and garden items happening now at Horswood's Building Center in St. Kitts and Nevis. Horswood's Building and Nevis Centers, making home improvement easy. Terms and conditions apply. See store for details.
And we're back with Voices right here on WinFM 98.9. It is just 12:30 right here in the studios of WinFM 98.9. Thank you so much for joining me on today's edition of Voices. So we are continuing the discussion and we're heading straight back to the phone line. So let's take our first call for this afternoon. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Yes, Mr. Cornelius, I'm back.
Yes, good afternoon.
Before
Go ahead.
Mr. Abernathy left, he echoed some sentiments that I agree with him in terms of the compilation and the documentation of these sayings. Because if you would know the history of the steel pan and how far and wide the steel pan has gone, and in terms of the patent rights, it will end up outside of our regions. These sayings will end up outside of our regions. They will become an industry, and you know the exploitation. So I agree with him about. But it's like, is Mr. Abernathy saying it looking in the rearview mirror? Aren't these things should have been done already? And so you and I, with the discussion we had this morning, and a lot of us would have been more familiar because we would have been gleaning from the pages of what our forebears left. And so I agree. If it's one thing that I know that even platforms and you know, we enjoy platforms and social media and so. There is one called TikTok. The very first time I heard about TikTok, it was in a song, you know, a Jamaican gentleman sang a song. TikTok, 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 TikTok. I stand to be corrected. If anyone else have heard TikTok before that, and now TikTok is a platform or something of that nature. So we have to guard what is ours and leave it down to posterity. Two other things came to my mind, which the old saying, as we go back there, is like saying, what fall from horse or donkey belly, what fall from horse back or donkey back, fall under its belly. And another saying that a sheep don't bring goat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a popular one.
Others would call in Wayne and expound on this.
Right.
Saying them is one thing, but giving interpretation, giving essence to them is the other.
Right.
You know, because we will want to document them in this full, you know what I mean, interpretation of why our parents, why our grandparents did say these things.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Because there were lessons for them. I know that my parents would have heard it from their their parents, and it was lessons for that generation to this generation, and also for the generation yet unborn. Thanks for listening.
And thank you so much for your contribution to this program. We're still taking your calls here on Voices on WinFM 98.9. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. Remember, we are live on Facebook at WINNMedia SKN. You can also check out our YouTube channel. And let's head back to the phone lines. We have a caller on the line. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Hey, good afternoon again, Devon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to all your listeners at home and abroad. You know this next thing about high grass?
High grass?
You're pissing in high grass.
Uh-huh.
You know what that means?
Tell me.
And they say, boy, you're pissing in high grass. I mean, you're socializing with people in the upper class.
Okay. Makes sense. Oh, yeah.
So people say, boy, you know, they might see with somebody. And they say, boy, you're pissing in high grass. Hello?
Yeah, I'm following you.
Oh, yeah, something go click.
Yeah.
Now, as a young woman, you were expected to prepare for marriage, you know. Nobody and ask you. You had what they call a hope chest. What? Somebody calling me. Anyway, let me call you back.
Right, caller. Thank you. Okay, no problem. That's fine. But yeah. So Call us today and tell us about some of the. Sorry about that. We have a caller on the line. Let's take this caller. Caller, you're on the air.
Hello, good afternoon. Good afternoon. I did listen all morning. It's interesting. Yeah, the one where ship don't bring out it all the time. The slang go like that because what happened? Something what you never used to do coming up. You know your child come doing it. Like I never believe in like trauma, the use, do card, you get money and so. And now, that's so popular with somebody. I got so. You go with somebody, you start doing it. And you get the habit, and then you can't get out up to now. So, all the time that this slang really go how it's supposed to. Because you see it swing. You come up as you were listening earlier, trying to be peaceful, don't make no rat with nobody. And your son or daughter go down the road, come make confusion with a friend of them, most friend, and you're trying to say, man, show that aside, man, show that behind your back. Because that was used to be a slang, so show that behind your back, your friend back. And what they're going to put down towards one another, is something else, is an eyebrow, raising, so that happen. And when you look long after, you see the same to person, maybe 6 months or so after you saw them together, with what were the was to pass and remarks on one another, could have done without. So that one is a ticklish one, the one where they shape them good. Sometimes it happen like you heard something like your mother, you heard something like your father, and you were here. But in other things doing, you come doing it, and you find they're doing it, and then you can't even break them off because they feel like it's the way, and let them have the way. Yeah, but you will fall off, they ask back again, run under the belly. That's what the person was saying, it's different, because they say, what you do, they come and do. But to me, all the time, some people say, my father or mother, my father is to drink alcohol, me want to come and drink it. Because I don't want to be intoxicated, and doing nowhere be when I on the road, but some people go right down the line with it. So sometimes you pull it up, as my Henry said, at an early age. And some people just come on, like somebody say, I want to drink a malt. Person say, man, drink a beer and a malt. You can't drink a beer. Your head only could take a malt and not a caribou. And they will be forcing, and then they will say, well, they break you in now. Because you never really had to. But maybe you ain't continue. You just do that day until the next time. Say, no, me want a beer and I want a malt. Okay.
Yeah, and thank you so much, caller, for your contribution. We're still taking your calls here on Voices on WINNFM 98.9, and we're talking about some of the old proverbs, old sayings, old... tell us about some of the old games that you used to play growing up. Some of the old games that you used to play, things that you used to do in your childhood. We have a caller on the line. Let's take this call. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Yes, Devon, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Yeah. I just want to say good afternoon to everyone, and more specifically to Mrs. Henry and my good friend there, the Bile Nuts lady who just spoke with you. Devon, we grew up in our time as youth when the community used to raise a child, and one of the saying that we used to hear, like, for instance, if we did something wrong, the other elders in that community would chastise us with licks and, lashes. But there are times when if one elder would refrain from, spanking us when we do anything wrong, they would relate the wrong that we do to our parents. And then, our parents would say things like, oh, wet your hand and wait for me. Wet your hand and wait for me until I get home. So you have that fear of waiting when your parents come home because, you're going to get licked, So that was one that always stuck with me. They always just say, wet your hand and wait for me. So I don't know if you came across that one.
Yes,
but Devon,
yes.
with your permission, I would like to say something. One of our frequent caller on a different radio station said something on Wednesday, and if you would permit me, I would like to just touch on that. But if you don't, I'll abide by your guidance.
We're really trying to stick to this topic of the old proverbs and old sayings. We don't really want to divert to anything else. But later on, I'll facilitate your contribution. But right now, we want to stick to the old proverbs and old sayings and some of the things that we did in our childhood.
Respect.
Right. Thank you so much, Carlo, for your contribution to this program. You're listening to Voices on WINN FM 98.9. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. Thank you so much for your contribution to this program. It is 12:42 and we are winding down. The phone lines are open and we are taking your calls. So some very interesting proverbs, old-time sayings, were shared on the first hour. And again, thank you guys so much for doing so. For me, it was a learning opportunity because some of these things I've never heard them before. And even though I heard some, I did not know the full meaning of it. Or perhaps I had the wrong interpretation of it, But this is really good and I really like it. We have a caller on the line, so we're heading back to the phone lines. Let's take this call. Caller, go ahead. You're on the air.
Greetings again. And the first time we called, we didn't say thanks for having the bridging there as a guest, And again, thanks for the sharing. You got one name, sinker longer than line, and time longer than twine.
Repeat the first one. How you say the first one go?
Cinco, longer than line. Cinco is the thing. You know my name, Cinco? The thing where you throw upon your line.
When you're fishing. Line. So Cinco longer than...
line.
Cinco longer than line.
And time longer than twine.
Time longer than twine. Yeah, I don't want enough time.
These proverbs, Give thanks for the sharing once more, yeah?
Yeah, man, you too.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for your contribution. So, looking at some of the old sayings, it says, "Old stick of fire catch quick." I don't know what that means. I don't. If you know what that means, call me and tell me. Old stick of fire catch quick. And it says, wherever you find a liar, you find a thief. Or wherever you find a thief, you find a murderer. These are some very interesting old-time saying, and as I said, they're used in real-life situations. We have a caller on the line, so let's head back to the phone lines. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
I wish to expound on the first one you talked about. Old fire stick is not hard to catch. Okay, I rephrased it. Okay.
Okay, that's.
Yeah, it's all good. The way you said it and the way I rephrased it, it's all good. It's the same. It means the same. That was said a lot. It can be referred to as other things, but it was said a lot in in a relationship, like you had a friend, a girlfriend growing up with, for whatever reason, you all departed. And because of that mutual understanding that you had, apart from what created that departure, you all had something in unison, in bonds already. So in order to, make it up and move back on, that was referred to that. Old fire stick is not hard to catch because you already know the person. You get to know the person that much. But for whatever reason, you all departed. So we used to say that. It is not just restricted to that alone, but I always say that. Like, old fire stick is not hard to catch.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. But and thank you so much for...
It is.
Yeah, thank you so much for that interpretation. Yeah, old stick of fire catch quicker. Old stick of fire. Yeah, old stick of fire catch quicker. That's the wording that I have here. But these are some very interesting old-time sayings and proverbs. Very, very interesting. As I said, a learning opportunity for me, to really understand what these mean. We have another caller. Let's head back to the phone lines. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody mentioned this one because it just came in from town. It's not want a tongue where cattle can't talk. It's too much you got. I don't know if anybody out there would know that.
Hey.
But it's not want a tongue cattle got. Where can't talk. It got too much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I have something like
some
that.
Some of them old people, them young men could interpret that, then that'll be fine.
Yeah. I have it right here. And thank you so much for adding that. I have it right here. What I have is, it is not tongue that cattle don't have where they cannot talk. Too much they have where they can't talk. Very interesting old time saying. And thank you, caller, so much. I actually had it on the list right here to share with you. But I'm throwing these out there because I want to have a interaction with you, the callers, and for you to share some of the old time sayings and proverbs that you were told when you were growing up with your parents and grandparents, and for you to give your interpretation of it. I must admit, I don't know too much about the old time sayings and the proverbs, but I have heard a few. And as I said, my interpretation of it perhaps may be different or may not be as accurate as it should be. So I want to hear from you, your interpretation of these old-time sayings. It says, so I'm looking at some other ones, and it says, don't hang your hat where you can't reach. Don't hang your hand, sorry. Yeah, don't hang your hat. Don't hang your hat where you can't reach your hand, or something like that. We have a caller. Let's head back to the phone lines. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Good afternoon. Hello?
Yes, caller, good afternoon. You go ahead.
You ever bite your own tongue?
Enough times.
Bite your tongue so that you wouldn't say what you ain't supposed to say. Do you know without your tongue you're not able to chew your food properly? Your tongue is what guides your food to your teeth, because your teeth only go up and down, the bottom of your chin.
Yes.
Only go up and down, and if you don't have your tongue to push the food in the way, you cannot bite the food properly.
Mm-hmm.
So the tongue is very important. So be careful what you say. Bite your tongue before you think before you talk. Put brains in gear before you engage mouth. Because words that be said cannot be taken back.
All right, thank you, caller, so much for that. Yeah, so I was saying, don't hang your hat where your hand can't reach. This is my interpretation of it, and you guys can tell me. But my interpretation is that perhaps don't bite off more than you can chew. Don't. Sometimes people get themselves into situations that they think that they could handle, and they realize that they can't handle the situation. I don't know if I have the correct interpretation, but I want to hear from you your interpretation of this old-time saying. The phone lines are open, and we're taking your calls right here on Voices on WINNFM 98.9. It is 10 minutes to the hour. We have a caller. Let's take this call. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
It's a Cornelius. Added to the one the fella just said, the fewer teeth you have, the more you bite your tongue.
The fewer teeth
you have, the more teeth you lose them.
Oh, okay.
The more you bite your tongue. And this is an actual practical thing, This actually will happen. I just added to the one that the fella gave you a while ago.
Right.
Really, what the fella said is correct, is that the bottom part of your mouth only goes vertically up and down. So if you want a piece of food, go across to some teeth on the right. Sometimes a tooth might be hurting you on the side. Cornelius?
Yeah, following you, man, following.
Right, that food might hurt you on the left side. So you want to put the food over on the right side. And a lot of times you won't believe you bite your tongue. And with fewer you, teach you how. You bite your tongue more all the time. Okay, easy.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much, Carlo, for your contribution to this program. Very interesting. I feel like I'm in a classroom sitting down, and the callers are sharing with me their interpretation of these old-time sayings and proverbs. But if we can shift the conversation just a little bit, what is tell us share with me, share with the listening audience some of the old-time games that you used to play. Them games you used to play when you're growing up. But let's take this call. We have a caller on the line. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Yeah, I could remember hoop when I was young. We used to play hoop. And I can't quite remember how that was. And there's another thing called peewit. Them fellas my age might be able to describe what peewit was all about. I can't remember, but I remember hoop and peewit. Somebody could call in and describe to the listening public what peewit and hoop, whether they both were the same or what. I can't remember offhand.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much, caller, for that. Yeah, hoop, and I think you said TVIT. Yeah, why? I really don't know. I can't tell you. I really don't know. But hopefully somebody can call in and tell us what some of these games are. But yeah, share with us some of the games that you once played growing up to school in your childhood days. The games that we're having now are a bunch of stupidness. Let's hear about the games that you used to play when you were growing up. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Good afternoon. Mr. Cornelius.
Yes, good afternoon. Go ahead.
Hoop is a hiding game.
It's a hiding game?
Yeah.
Ah.
You got a group, right? So you all stay in the area and you go to hide. And you gotta come out and find that person. Period. Almost the same thing. But then you say, you gone out, and then you say, period. Then you run to hide. And the person who doing the catching, they'll come and find you. You understand?
Yeah, okay.
You know about this one, if you want to see John B.
If you want to see John B, no.
You want to see a John B.
No, where may you want to see a John B?
That used to crack me when I was small. They come the master heel and they spin you around.
Yeah.
And they say, but I don't see John B. So I'm afraid to go home,
Listen, mash your heel and spin you around?
Yeah. You don't know word playing. And when your friend will just come, mash your heel and spin you around. Then they say, but I don't see John B. Then you're afraid to go home, Because you want it. You want it. I mean, there was jokes you had.
Yeah.
When you're small.
Ah.
And hide and seek.
Mm-hmm.
You go out to hide. And then, that's that spirit. You go to hide.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody come look for you. Why is you hiding? If they see you, if they catch you, then it means that you're turned to catch.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes when you hear you go hide, you go home, go sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Suppose now they're looking for you, you don't go home, go sleep. That's the end of the game,
Yeah.
Because they gonna find you.
Oh, okay. I think.
I think. And hide and seek, and you had this one where you got the ring. I drop a letter to my love. You used to play that one there. Hello.
Yeah.
You used to play that one there.
No, I never played that one before, but I've heard about it before.
You going around with a letter in your hand, and you're singing a song. I drop a letter to my love. Someone pick it up. And you drop the letter behind somebody. And you're going around. No, nobody's supposed to look back. And you're going around. If you come back around now, and you make the letter there, and you go and sit by that person, you take it up. And you have to run around. You have to run around to come back in your place. Because the person will be running behind you and asking you. So why you slow when it's small? Once you pass around and watching you, if you have it in your hand, it means that maybe you have it by my foot. I drop a letter to my love. The one that used to be fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
And period. You gotta go away sometime. We live East Street and you reach out of the village, you know.
Yeah, thank you so much, Carla.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for your contribution. It is 12:56. Sorry, we'll take a break to give a shout out to our sponsor for this program, and when we come back, we'll continue Voices right here on WINN FM 98.9. We are taking your calls. Okay, we'll take one more call before we take this break, and when we take the break, we'll be right back. But let's take this call right now. Caller.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
What a breath of fresh air. Thank you very much. Instead of hearing politics every day,
Yeah.
thank you very much. But one of the music play too is who can write the most care numbers?
I don't know how that one go.
Yeah, you write down, and every care pass you write down the number there, and you cannot have my number that I write down.
Oh,
And
yeah.
also they put a piece of board in the drain as a boat, like a boat, and we see who boat reach, who piece of board reach down to the bottom of the bridge. All right then.
Right, Carla, thank you so much for sharing that. Boy, I like this. I really, really like this. Yeah, this is really good. Call us and tell us some of the games that you used to play. It is 12:57. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll continue Voices right here on WINN FM 98.9. Stick and stay. We'll be right back to continue this interesting, very, very interesting conversation. We'll be right back.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is WINN FM.
Supermarket shoppers understand that convenience matters. At Hortsport's Value Mart IGA, we know that price matters most. Ample parking and the widest variety matter. At Hortsport's Value Mart IGA, we know that price matters most. Clean, spacious aisles and the highest level of customer service all matter. At Hortsport's Value Mart IGA, price matters most. We've renewed our commitment to guarantee the lowest prices in the Federation. Why? Because we understand that in this tough economic environment, price matters most. Shop smart. Shop Value Mart, where price matters most. Farms Estate Nevis and Wellington Road, St. Kitts.
Price matters most.
Welcome back to Voices on WINN FM 98.9. The phone lines are ringing off the hook. We're heading back to the phone lines. Let's take this caller. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Yeah, this is another thing we used to do when you're small, right? And you go out late and you come in. You cannot walk in the door forward. You have to walk in backward.
Yes. I
The
don't know.
reason for that, they say, is that evil spirit, if you're walking forward, evil spirit going to come in the house with you.
Yeah, another one for real.
You remember that?
Absolutely.
Right. And then the next game that I know was knocks. They call it knocks, where you dig 3 holes, right? And you make a mark, and everybody with the mark will go up to the mark, let's say about 6 feet or maybe 7 feet, and you throw down your marble to go into the hole, right? Everybody who throw down the marble and go into the hole no longer part of the game. But the last person, what he had to do now is to put his fist down on the ground. I think Hunks might be able to explain it. He might know about that. You put your fist down to the ground, and if it's a 6 or 7 of us playing, we're going to pitch the marble very hard against your knocks. But we're going to pitch it that hard that when it hits your knocks, it don't go in the hole. Because as long as you go in the hole, you're no longer in the game. And I'm telling you, some people that come up with some bruised knuckles, they call it knocks. That day is something we played many, many, many years ago when I was a young boy. Okay?
Wow.
Knocks, they call that day.
Yeah, thank you so much,
And
caller, for...
you had spinner, where you beat out a cola stopper. You have bigger ones, and then you will string the cola, both 2 holes in the cola stopper, and string it, and you spin it around, and you put it like a concertina, and the other person do the same thing, and you more or less your job is to cut his string and his stringer.
Yes.
You understand what I mean?
Another one.
Okay, another one.
Yeah,
Okay,
I think
great,
we used to
great.
say
Well, I
zoom
won't hear
zoom.
them all right now. Let's see what they have to say.
Yeah, I think when I was going to primary school, we used to say zoom zoom, but I'm familiar with what you're talking about. But I want to throw out some that I have here. We have game rounders, of course, the usual hide and seek, Indian and cowboy. Tell me about Indian and cowboy. Let's head back to the phone lines. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Yes, I'm away from the radio, so I don't know. I just heard the gentleman talking about knock game. Yeah, they've met this on marble games we used to play. I don't know if anyone mentioned about the hoop and peewit.
Yes, somebody did. Somebody did. What is your interpretation of that? What is it? What is hoop and peewit?
Okay, peewit. Let me explain peewit because it was more extensive. Peewit is where you would probably like have two groups of persons, and it's like a trail. And what we used to get, I saw the not the dark charcoals, but a stone that was able to make a mark, like arrow marks, to send you on the trail as to where the group went to hide. And we will make these markings in the road, in our villages, as to that trail about the peewit. And that was one of the games, apart from the hoop game. And yeah, our parents used to admonish us. Now, our advantage, yes, down here on St. Kitts is that when the factory horn would have blown twice for 9 o'clock and once for 10 o'clock, because our parents already told us, do not let 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock meet us out. Well, they're standpipes. And so we cannot afford to have it play those games, sometimes barefooted. We had to go towards the standpipe, wash our feet before we get into the house, for that appointed time. And so it was very interesting, the games we play. We came up with the top game, the spinning top. The old adage, you can't spin top in mud.
Yes.
The top game. And then we came up with another game again, similar to a top, but it had these markings on it. It had these markings, this H. I think it had some letters on it, on the way it was designed. And whenever it falls on that, you either put in or you receive from the pool. Because sometimes the pool accumulates. So it is interesting. But I want to stress the documentation of all these things, Mr. Cornelius, because we are being listened far and wide, and we don't want this plagiarization and this theft of what if there's any benefits, we should be the beneficiaries of. When I say we, not me per se, but our culture should be the beneficiaries of these games that we play now, and they can be all over the world and not a benefit, not even knowing the origin of where these things originated. So it is interesting while other callers are calling and waiting, and you document these things, and you have a follow-up to it. But there's so many others.
Yes.
Like the apple don't fall far from the tree. All of these sayings. Similar to sheep don't bring goat. All of these sayings are sayings amongst us,
right.
And we have to lend more interpretation to them.
Right.
Thanks for listening.
And thank you so much, caller, for your contribution. We're still taking your calls here on Voices on WINFM 98.9. For those of you who are just tuning in, we are on the conversation of old proverbs, old sayings, games that you used to play when you were growing up. And, just for us to have a conversation around it, and it's an exchange between you and I. Let's head back to the phone lines. Caller, you are on the air. Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon. Cornelius. One of the sweetest game you ever played, Mr. Cornelius, is what? Second.
Bye.
In Dolly House.
I was even Dolly House hide and seek.
Dolly House.
All them things there, yeah.
Yes. You know,
me and my sister and it's a fun, nice childhood. Huh? Dolly House for boys and girls.
Dolly House for the best girls. And teaching marbles here, anyhow, yeah.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much, caller, for your contribution. But yeah, hide and seek was everybody thing in primary school, at home, in the village. Yeah. Dog and monkey. How does dog and monkey go? I never hear that yet. We have a caller. Let's hit this call. Caller, you're on the air. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Cornelius. How are you doing?
Good afternoon. I'm doing fine, thanks. What about you?
I'm okay.
Awesome.
I'm going to give you two that my father used to always say. One, this thing he used to always say, like, in the end, we find out what he was trying to say to us. He used to say, jump the levels to fine salt and take it for white sugar. In short, he's trying to tell you, don't try to fool him. But I think one of the best one I heard from an old guy, I think it depends on where you grew up, you hear different things, eh? Now, where I grew up here in the village, you had a lot of people used to work on the estate. And this was what I heard an old man tell this young guy one time. And if anybody said this to you, keep your eyes open. You tell him small stock is feeding in his sprout. In short, the man telling him he get him bite. So anybody tell you small stock feeding in your sprout, you got problems.
Right.
All right.
All right, caller, thank you so much for that. We're heading back to the phone lines and we're taking this call. Caller, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Yeah, man. Good afternoon. Being that it's Valentine's, let me throw a couple of the proverbs. A lot of proverbs, man. Endless proverbs. You know, some guys got all the love, some guys got all the pain. Valentine's weekend. I don't know how come somebody ain't said that up to now. Everything that glitters is not gold.
Yeah, we have that one right here.
The grass is not always greener on the other side. You ain't gonna miss me until I'm gone. You're not gonna miss the water until the well run dry. The stone that the builder refused can very well be the head cornerstone.
Yes.
You know, the list goes on and on, man.
Yeah, there's
You
a
know
lot.
what I'm saying?
There's a lot.
Yeah, very much. But yeah, man, great topic, man. You guys keep up the good works, and I'm just hoping that somebody could put all of these things in books and keep that culture going. You know what I mean? All right.
Absolutely.
Thanks a lot, man.
And thank you so much for that. Yeah, this is indeed the Valentine weekend, and so thank you so much, caller, for sharing those with us. But we did have some of them lined up here. But we have some of the callers on the line, so we are interacting with our callers today, and we're taking some calls. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Yeah, the one I love was what don't fatten fill, and what don't like. What don't kill fatten, and what don't fatten fill. In other words, shut up and eat your food.
Hey. Yes, that's a popular one. Yeah, I could relate to that. Colin, thank you so much for that, man. That's a good one. I think everybody knows that one. Let's head back to the phone lines. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Yeah, to go with that last one, they just say, what I don't see, heart don't grieve. It's like anything in the food, and people say, well, what I don't see, heart don't grieve, you just eat. No, they were very creative, you know. When I grew up in the village, and, you know, there's a hill to get down into Bastille. Everywhere you turn is a hill. And the boys used to make carts and scooter, they call them scooters. But maybe you never see them.
Mm-hmm.
They make them out of wood.
I think I know what you mean. You're talking
And they put
about
on what they call skate wheel.
the sandbox and you push it, something like that?
Right, the sandbox. And brother, you see that hill that lead up to Pam?
Mm-hmm.
Some of them would actually go on that hill and race all the way down. This time, you know, the buses used to come through, you know. I don't know how they didn't get killed. And they used to make carts too. With a sawfish box, you beg the shop for a sawfish box, and you put on the four skate wheel. These were metal wheels. I think they got them from people who work in the factory. So these were not the sandbox ones. These were iron or metal wheels. Sometimes they put on hands, and they would race each other either down the hill to go down by OTI. It was crazy. But you know about catapult, right?
Yes.
Yeah, man. They get the guava. It had to be guava. I don't know why, but it had to be guava wood. And they get the rubber band, and all right down where Mr. Bratcher used to live. There's a lot of grass. They go on there and shoot gun down, and you come back home and they cook it. You know, it was a lot of excitement. And the hoop, well, I went to village school. And every Friday afternoon, after the break, there was no more classes. So you're playing hoop and hide and seek and things. All down. We end up down Fort Plans, all down by the memorial. You divide into teams, eh? It wasn't a one person. I on this side and you on that side. And we had to go until we catch everybody. So it was a lot of fun. And the one about, there was the one with the stone. They call it jacks now. You remember, you know what they call jacks? We used to call it pick-me-up.
Okay.
And you use nickel marble. These nickel that go on some cassia bush around by OTI, Fisherman Wharf. And you put them down, just like when you play jacks. Or you use stones, or you use tamarind seed. That was our jacks. We used to call it pick-me-up. And you in your ones, and you in your twos. And then ladder. You know ladder? What you always call it?
Ladder?
When you mark it on the ground and you do your jumping. All of those are games we used to play in village school. So I used to have a lot of fun, bat and ball. You know, you make the ball out of the tube. They cut the bicycle tube. And then they would put it around a maca seed until you get a nice ball. And boys and girls used to play all through the alleys. The alleys and the streets were our thing because before the grammar school moved, you couldn't go up on the pasture. So we played through all the alleys this time, you know. The amount, when I look back now, the amount of children used to be in the village who ain't got 10, got 6. You know, children can't done every alley full. We play hoop, they fight, they wrestle. It used to be fun, man. With the girls now, we used to pull up this grass, make grass dolly. Forget what they call the grass now. Nut grass. I think they call it nut grass.
Mm-hmm.
Those were the dollies, you know. You pull them up and you wash out the long fibrous root, and you comb them up. You put on cloth, and we cook. We call dolly food. Something we used to call baby Irish potato. All kind of stuff we used to do. You know, it was fun. I mean, everybody was poor. The only thing is that sure everybody was so poor. Nobody was poorer than nobody, and nobody was richer than anybody.
Yeah.
The only time you know the difference is when Christmas comes.
Yeah.
Some people who had their parents in England, they might get boxes, you know.
Right.
Other than that, all of us eat the same boiled potato, roast potato, boiled sprat, roast, sprat fry, sprat. You know, but children have life much better. I mean, even though we may say it was good. Looking back, it was difficult, one that we didn't see it so. All right, then.
Carla, thank you so much for that. It is 50 minutes past the hour of 1 here in our studios at WIN FM 98.9. Very good conversation we are having here on Voices. We'll take this short break, and when we come back, we will continue Voices for today. Stick and stay. We will be right back.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. WIN FM.
Get your property properly covered today. Constructing your dream house or considering renovating your property? We will make sure your property is properly covered at Guardian General Insurance. Yes, at Guardian General Insurance, we will ensure that your property is properly covered. with our private dwelling and contractors all-risk promotion. Visit or call us today and get affordable rates, premium financing arrangements from now until March 31st, 2022. We will properly cover fire, lightning, explosion, thunderbolt, bursting or overflowing of water tanks and apparatus pipes, burglary, theft or larceny, impact by road vehicle, riot, strike or malicious damage, hurricane, earthquake or volcanic eruption, flood, collapse due to subsidence of landslip, loss of rent, cost of temporary accommodation, and much more. So get your property properly covered at SL Horsford and Company Limited, local agents for Guardian General Insurance today. Special terms and conditions apply. Call today at 869-465-9355 for further details.
Welcome back to Voices on Win FM 98.9. We have a caller on the line. Let's take this call. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Good afternoon, Mr. Cornelius. I don't know if anybody come with this one. With your glory are shining in the dark battle over Bethlehem Stonewall.
I only hear it. My mother says your glory shines for some random thing. Your glory shine, but I've never heard the last part to it.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then the games then that I used to play, I don't know if anybody came up with this one. Na, tread the needle, nasi, tread the needle.
Ah, okay. I'm not familiar with that one, but that one sounds really interesting.
It's a ring with boys and girls. So
right.
You go around saying, pointing on the person, till you reach to maybe somebody that you favor in love with. So you're glad to go around to that person, for you to go under to that person. And you start there and you wind up on the person and that person come out and then he or she would go around again in the ring and we do the same thing. Tread the needle, nasi, tread the needle.
Right, Carter, thank you so much for sharing that with us.
And even the one with grown girl in the ring is similar to that one too.
Yes, that is very true. Right.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for your contribution to this program. So we got a WhatsApp message. This one is a game called Match Me. Okay, let me see. So it says had to walk with a piece of a croton leaf on you. If see without it, you get a blow or a hit. See us gone school, and when you forget, you break off piece from somebody's fence. So apparently before you go to school, you broke it off before you go to school. So when you go to school, you don't get hit. Let's head back to the phone lines. Okay, we seem to have lost that caller. We are still taking your calls here, right here on Voices on Win FM 98.9. Very good discussion that we're having. We just have about 10 minutes left before we close off today's edition of Voices. Today is Friday, February 11, 2022. But just before I go, I want to share with you tomorrow's Inside the News. Just want to encourage you to tune in, and we have for tomorrow we have Inside the News with the theme "Nice Guys Finish Last, or Do They?" That's the topic for tomorrow, and the host is Inoite Inaga and Jamie Morris. This is a conversation that will be surrounded around gentlemen in society and essentially what the theme says. Nice guys finish last, or do they? This goes live tomorrow at 11 on all of our platforms right here on our FM at 98.9 and, of course, on our social media platforms. Let's head back to the phone lines. We have some callers who are trying to get in. Caller, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Yes, Jeremy, the one with Matthew, if you can. Sometimes your mother and another mother, person will arguing. Your mother and another mother will arguing. And one of them feel they could bang one. Maybe your mother feel that she could bang the lady. So if you think you're bad, they put it on the shoulder. And they say, match me if you can. So you see them walk up and down with it. So you watch them, because they say if you trouble them, they're going to bang you off. So you have to stick it down with a pin and tap the dress. So they say, match me if you can. You know what, maybe so good with the person supposed to, but that's how I know it from the country, Because you will want the thing. And what about this one with a Kimberly, say if you and somebody had a fight, and you feel too like you could beat the person, you put the thing on the shoulder and say, knock it off if you think you're bad. Knock it off when you're looking to create a fight. It will go today. What's your name? Nobody sometime to on a Saturday. What's your name? Jazzy? Go back in the old time days and talk about this thing to you now. So we should create again.
Right. Well, caller, thank you so much for your contribution.
I just want to.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Somebody abusing too.
Yeah, thank you so much. You want to take some other call, so let's take this caller. We have a call on the phone line. Caller, good afternoon. You're on Voices.
Hi, good afternoon.
Yes, hello.
This program is right up my street. I must tell you that.
Awesome.
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hello, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm saying that this program is right up my street because I am still trying to unravel some of the proverbs my mother used on us. It has taken me a lifetime and some of them, but one of the ones I remember is that she always encouraged us not to take anything free from anyone because there is nothing like a free plate of food. And the bigger the plate, the more your belly hot. Which means that if you get something, that person is actually expecting something in return. But I think that the best ones for me was around sex education because in my day, nobody got sex education, of course, or in some form. And my own was that at period time, my mother sat me down on a stone, and she said that now you are a young woman and you should not speak to men. And then, of course, she sent me to the shop. And coming back, this old gentleman tried to give me a message to give to her. So, of course, I start running away because she just gave me this message not to speak to men. And the man was so, I think, taken aback by my reaction to him calling me that he came to my mom and he said, well, what's happening to that little girl of yours? Because I tried calling her to tell you to collect some sweet potatoes and yams for me. And she took one running up the road and my mother said, why did you run away from him? And I said, because you just told me not to talk to a man. And she said, girl, why are you so stupid?
Hold on.
Okay? And so you had to unravel whatever. But the most poignant one to me was when she said, I had a sister before me who had a child at 16. And so, of course, my life was a little bit curbed, to say the least. And I couldn't understand why. And she said, come here. And she had the ordinary time that we put in food. We used to call it tiki time. And she pulled one leaf off. Now, you know that tiki time leaf is actually about the size of an ant or even smaller.
Yes.
And she said, what is this? And I said, a tiki time bush. And she said, all right, never trust a man behind it. Okay?
Wow.
Do you understand the meaning of that?
Mm-hmm. I'm not clearly expound for
You
me.
have a tiki time bush that's the size of an ant. And there you are, somebody telling you not to trust a man behind it. You don't understand.
No,
I leave it. I leave you to unravel that then.
I'll think about it some more.
Okay, because that has taken me a lifetime. Okay.
Thank you so much for your contribution. We have some other callers, so let's head back to the phone lines. Okay, we seem to have lost that caller. Please call us back. We have 4 minutes left before we wrap up today's edition. Let's take this call. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Yeah, they three them cross my mind. Man, I'm using the dialect of how they say. Man, now make up gong for monkey to run on. Some more daring person might be able to explain what that means. And the next thing is that monkey no will him to jump on. Or monkey don't jump on cashew tree. You there?
Yes.
Yes, monkey no will him to jump on. Monkey don't jump on cashew tree. And man don't make ground for monkey to run on. Well, the one there is some little, which I don't think I'm daring enough to say that. Okay.
Right, caller, thank you so much for your contribution. We'll see how many calls we can get in the next 3 minutes. But please call us quickly. Give us your old saying, your old proverb, or some game that you played while growing up. But let me just say thank you so much for your contribution to this program. We're heading back to the phone lines and we're taking this call. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Yeah, greetings again. You got one name, prevention better than cure.
Yeah, that's a powerful one.
What the lady mean, I think a time leave little, and a man, a man bigger than a time leave. So, yeah, just be a man, yeah. But it's not all man can the same, and I know she have found that out since she have grown, You got the next one say, who have cocoa in sun, always looking for rain. You ever hear that one there?
Yeah, someone said it earlier.
I think Sparrow sing it in one of his songs then too. Give thanks again for the sharing,
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for your contribution to this program. Very interesting program, but that is the end of the program. We're not going to be taking any more calls. We have just about 1 minute left before we wrap up today's edition. But let me say a heartfelt thank you to all of you for calling and for participating and contributing to today's show. It was so refreshing, and I enjoyed every last bit of it. For me, it was a learning experience, as some of these old sayings and some of these proverbs, games that you shared with me, I never hear them yet. So it was really good. And it was a wonderful opportunity. And again, thank you to our guests earlier who joined us in the first hour. Abonati Liebert from Nevis. He's the Executive Director of the Culturama Secretariat. All things culture. But thank you guys so much for joining me on Voices right here on WINNFM 98.9. It is a beautiful Friday here in Sugar City, St. Kitts, and the Queen City right over there in Nevis. It's 1:30. And thank you so much for joining us. Of course, I want to encourage you to tune in to tomorrow's edition of Inside the News. We go live at 11. We go live at 11 a.m. and we're going to have Inoite Inaga and Jamie Morris. And they will be speaking about nice guys finish last. Or do they? So tune in tomorrow. It's going to be a very wonderful program. A comment just came in today that says, good program today. Take your mind away from the politics. Boy, yes, so refreshing. It could be so daunting sometimes and a lot to deal with when you have to talk about, politics and COVID. And just to give you guys a bit of a taste of what we're going to be talking about next week, preservation of culture. This is Black History Month, and we're doing our part in educating you, the good listeners of WINNFM 98.9, on the preservation of culture. Of course, what we did today, and all things culture here in St. Kitts and Nevis. So thank you so much for your contribution. You know, there's a very interesting conversation that I think I want to have with you too, perhaps next week or the week after. But before we end the month of February, but this one is very interesting, and I think you guys are going to laugh when you get this one. But next week we could probably talk about what were some of the things that you did that made you get licks. I know all of us got licks at a point in time, you know? So good licks too. So what were some of the things that you did that made you get licks, and what did your mother and your father bang you with? But thank you guys so much. We really have to go. And thank you for your contribution to this program. Until next time, stay safe. Continue to listen to Win FM 98.9, and we are out of here.
Found the sound 98.9 Win FM.
Horswood's Building and Nevis Centers continues to make your lawn and gardening easy. Go to Horswood's Building and Nevis Center now and get 25% off store-wide on the entire lawn and garden equipment. Yes, for the months of February and March, Horswood's Building Center and Nevis Center is making improving your lawn and garden easy with 25% off garden supplies, garden equipment, garden accessories, including weed eaters, lawnmowers, and much more. Get 25% off all lawn and garden items happening now at Horswood's Building Center in St. Kitts and Nevis. Horswood's Building and Nevis Centers, making home improvement